With Plan B emergency contraception, we're in control of our future. It's backup birth control you take after unprotected sex that helps prevent pregnancy before it starts. It works by temporarily delaying ovulation, and it won't impact your future fertility. Plan B is available in all 50 U.S. states at all major retailers near you, with no ID, prescription, or age requirement needed. Together, we've got this. Follow Plan B on Insta at Plan B One Step to learn more. Use as directed.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Oh, yeah, baby.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the Michael movie came out.
You did?
There have been a lot of comments. First of all, when we recorded that review, LaToya hadn't said that Janet politely declined to be depicted in the film.
Right.
So, okay.
Oh, is that what a lot of the comments are about?
Well, sure. Other than that, I don't even know why I'm mentioning it, except that, as I predicted, and as you said in the review, there isn't a Michael movie that would satisfy everyone.
No.
There are lots of comments. I deleted a lot of comments too, because it's just like, if you don't like Michael Jackson, it doesn't matter what the movie is, you would be mad.
You mean that it exists, or?
Well, and that it doesn't mention the sex abuse stuff. And
well,
the film ends in 1988, which is before all of that happened. It does feel superficial.
Yes, and then there are a bunch of legal issues, such as Cat Graham being cut,
As Diana Ross.
I mean,
they did film something related to the first batch of allegations, but legally they weren't allowed to talk about it.
You know, there was a lot of contention filming. I think I just saw, again, I remember reading about this when it happened, but for the $50 million reshoots, Antoine Fuqua, the director, I think had quit. And there was a lot of contention filming. Like, he wouldn't leave the van. They were calling him Vantoine.
Oh.
So, you know, Michael Jackson is just a divisive pop icon for many reasons. And I don't know, if you are going to be offended, don't watch it.
Based on how it turned out, I do think it could have been better.
Sure.
Honestly, as a fan, I wanted more on his artistry, how he approached the making of Off the Wall and Thriller. We could have just stuck to that. What is his process like? He's known for being meticulous with the production and laying down the vocals. I think there could have been a really clever way to delve into that. Perhaps, I don't know. I mean, I was not expecting a movie that was produced by the estate of Michael Jackson to not paint him in a very flowery way and to not dig too deep, because that would also taint the family in general, which I'm sure they don't want to do.
No, and over all of the countless audio clips through the years, that family had its own issues processing Michael.
Yes.
And his sexuality, or questions about his sexuality. And at the end of the day, it's just his business. What I think the film does do, here's the other thing, because I did see a lot of feedback about how Michael's presented as one-dimensional, and I actually don't agree with that. I think Jafar Jackson has a really emotive performance about a child that is stuck in arrested development because he became a product, essentially, a tool for the family's economic success from a very young age. And he's a tabula rasa. This is a person at the time that this film is set is still just barely, has stepped out into trying to become himself.
Also, I think there's a presumption that there's so much more to him than what we saw.
But that's everybody.
Well, and I don't know that there is. He had a very sheltered life. He was a huge super megastar, but behind closed doors, how do we know? And also, what do we think he was getting up to? So, I mean,
yes.
that's the other thing. What if we find out that in reality, he was kind of basic behind closed doors because he didn't have a lot of options. He wasn't free to do a lot of things. I'm
Right,
not defending
exactly.
Michael Jackson. I'm just saying that for the type of movie this family wanted to make, I think they could have done a better job than what we saw. But I also didn't think or need a hit piece against him. There's enough of that available.
Exactly.
And the things that people want to vilify him for. And again, I'm not a defender, but this person was never convicted of anything. So that kind of bothers me too, because people talk about him like he's a convicted sex offender, and he's
Right.
not. Do I think that his behavior is weird? Sure, but that's a different time. That's a conversation for a different time.
But everybody's behavior behind closed doors is going to raise eyebrows, court questions. I think that there were ambulance chasers. I think that there were people that were out looking to take advantage of a person who it was easy to make such accusations of. I mean, did we have a review out there for that smear piece, that documentary that Oprah produced from a couple years back?
We talked about Finding Neverland.
Yes, which
for sure.
Is that? I think I saw something that's not available anymore, and that director has spoken out saying that a ridiculous statement. Again, this is just the headline that Michael Jackson's worse than Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, come on. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too into it. It's like people either think he's a monster or they don't.
We're talking about in the same terms. I think that we come around on Woody Allen too. Do I think that man's a creep? Yes, an incredible artist and director, sure, but also hasn't been convicted of everything. And when you dig deeper behind all the extreme dysfunction going on behind the scenes and in those relationships in that house, it's not my responsibility to police it.
Moving on to something lighter. I was at my Starbucks this morning and I was parked right in front of the door, and the entrance to the Starbucks, there are maybe 10 steps a person would have to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was sitting waiting to get out of my car to go pick up my mobile order, Rachel Sennott walked out the door.
Oh, hey girl.
And she had a bunch of stuff in her hands and she was talking on the phone, and this poor lady was walking down the stairs and tripped and spilled her coffee.
Oh no. Did you help her?
No, she looked to me because I was getting out of my car.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I got out of my car, she had already picked her things up, but she just looked like, damn. And she didn't go back inside to get another coffee, which I was surprised by. Films released we didn't cover.
Oh.
Broken Bird.
I think we got invited to a premiere screening of this, directed by Joanne Mitchell. It's about a woman named Sybil. That was an alarming name, isn't it? Who works at an undertaker's, and I think weird things happen there.
Desert Warrior.
Did this get any marketing that you were aware of? But Anthony Mackie stars in this movie about an honorable, mysterious rogue known as Hanzala, who makes himself an enemy of the Emperor Kisra. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen shit about it.
I would have passed anyway.
I know you would. Well, you did, because I send you these lists ahead of time.
I swear.
This was that film about the Tourette syndrome that won Best Actor, surprisingly, BAFTA, and where all that controversy was with Sinners this year and the man with Tourette syndrome in the audience.
Yes.
Directed by Kirk Jones. I thought I was supposed to get a screening link of this, and I didn't pursue it, but I still do want to see it. Omaha, directed by Cole Webley, starring John Magaro, who I quite like. And it's about a father on a cross-country road trip, and there are mysterious, secretive things that have spurred that road trip. That's all I know. But this is, again, if we had unlimited time, probably would have watched this.
Lastly, Ricky.
Ricky, I saw this out of Sundance. Was that 2025? Starring Stephen James and Sheryl Lee Ralph. I think people were making memes about Sheryl Lee Ralph's hair in this, but it's about a young man who's been locked up since he was a teenager, now in his 30s, named Ricky, and about living life post incarceration. And I remember thinking the performances were pretty good.
Projects of interest. Parable of the Sower.
The Octavia E. Butler novel is being adapted by Melina Matsoukas, who you are familiar with because of Queen and Slim. She also directed several episodes of Insecure. So that's exciting. It's nice to see Octavia Butler have finally kind of a resurgence in the visual arts.
Terms of Endearment.
So Lee Daniels is remaking Terms of Endearment with Oprah.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, you know he's going to get a fantastic cast for that.
Brigands of Rattle Creek.
This is a script from S. Craig Zoller, who I thought was trying to direct it for a long time, whose films are usually quite bloody and gritty and violent. I really liked Dragged Across Concrete a lot. I think that was in my top 10 that year. But Park Chan-wook is taking over to direct this project that's going to be headlined by Pedro Pascal, Austin Butler, and Matthew McConaughey.
This past week on Patreon, we dropped reviews for Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, which is a story about Gloria Graham, and the film Angel, about a sweet straight A student who's only 15 and is a prostitute.
Yes, I knew many like her where I grew up.
Unfortunately, there is an entry in the obituaries section. Nathalie Baye died.
Yes.
She's a French film, TV, and stage actress.
Legendary, actually. I mean, I didn't know. I think she was ill, but that did make me sad to see that. I've seen many, many films with her. I think for my May Patreon selection that I'll sponsor for our Patreon is going to be a Nathalie Baye film.
Great. The secret film this week was my choice, and I chose the 2006 American comedy drama, The Devil Wears Prada, directed by David Frankel. It stars Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. What is it about? Andy is a recent college graduate with big dreams. Upon landing a job at prestigious Runway magazine, she finds herself the assistant to diabolical editor Miranda Priestley. Andy questions her ability to survive her grim tour as Miranda's whipping girl without getting scorched. Why did I choose this film? Because we're seeing The Devil Wears Prada 2 tomorrow, I think, as of when this is being published.
Yes.
And I don't know that I've seen The Devil Wears Prada before. Obviously, it's a well-liked film.
It's kind of shocking for a homosexual.
I've seen clips online. So I knew a lot of the references, and I think I knew a lot of the plot lines. I don't know that I had ever sat down to watch it because I'd never seen it with you.
I haven't seen it since I've seen it once, and I saw it in the theater in Roseville, Minnesota with my mother and sister in 2006.
So the only opportunity I would have had to see it is in 2007. And I'm almost certain I would not have rented this film back then, knowing me.
You were very the Anne Hathaway character about this movie.
But I'm glad I saw it. So now I can say I have. I did enjoy it.
I enjoy it. I think it is complete fluff. I'm not one of those homosexuals that is head over heels for this film. But Meryl is quite good.
This film is based on a 2003 novel by Lauren Weisberger.
Yeah, and I remember the book everywhere, but it was the kind of book that was a number one bestseller, but they would sell at Walmart, which is where I worked that year that came out. And I remember this because I think I read Le Divorce, which is also which was also made into a movie, and I was quite taken with Naomi Watts at the time because of Mulholland Drive, and her photo was on the cover. And this ended up being a much bigger thing. But yeah, this is one of those books that you'd see everywhere, an airport book.
This film was a huge hit. I think it was made for around $40 million and made over $300 million at the box office.
A juggernaut.
I agree. It's fluff. It feels quite basic. The vibe of it feels like a mockumentary, like if VH1 made a movie about the documentary, The September Issue or something.
But not a smart documentary.
No. But Meryl Streep is very good in this role. And I guess I'm an Anne Hathaway fan because I've liked everything she's been in. And the movie people used to associate her with is The Princess Diaries.
Yes.
Which I haven't seen.
You didn't watch the first one with me? We used to live with someone that loved that movie. That's how I watched it.
The story is basically what I read. Anne Hathaway plays a character named Andy. She has just graduated from Northwestern University with a degree in journalism. She lives in New York with her boyfriend, played by Adrian Grenier. She's looking for a job and ultimately gets hired as the junior personal assistant to Miranda Priestley, editor-in-chief of Runway magazine. So it's supposed to be like Vogue.
Yes.
And Miranda Priestley is fashioned after Anna Wintour, it would seem, because the lady who wrote the book used to be Anna Wintour's assistant.
Yes. And I think that is why I didn't know this, because, you know, there's press everywhere of the tour for Devil Wears Prada 2 that the fashion industry did not want to assist on the production of this film because of that.
Miranda Priestley's played by Meryl Streep.
Well, the soundtrack uses, of course, Madonna's Vogue is whispered through there. But now for the sequel, Runway, the magazine, gets its own song.
Is that Lady Gaga song?
And Doechii, yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Miranda has 2 assistants. Her first assistant is played by Emily Blunt,
whose name is Emily.
And Emily's
a cult member, basically. She has drank the Kool-Aid.
We understand that the most important time of year is Paris Fashion Week. And as Miranda's first assistant, she will accompany her to Paris. And she's super excited about that because of all the clothes she'll get. Also, the connections she could make.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why anyone wants this job, is because of all the connections they can make within the fashion industry. But of course, for Andy, she doesn't care because she wants to be a real journalist, has no interest in fashion. So seems like a pointless job for her to have.
Right.
But she dives in head first, which causes some problems amongst her friend group. They're all concerned that she's changing because she's become sort of obsessed with her job, but only in the way that feels like she's afraid of losing it.
She's afraid of losing it, and there's something, and I think we need to I'm sure we'll get into this conversation with what certain industries under capitalism do to people, but I think there's a certain thrill when you become a successful workhorse, and I think she is buying into the thrill of succeeding in this role.
She's also had a glow up.
Yes.
With her hair, makeup, and fashion, which I have questions about. If someone can please explain to me where this lady is getting all these clothes from.
Are they for keeps?
She's wearing them like they're hers. I was assuming Stanley Tucci's character, Nigel, who's the fashion director, was giving her those clothes, but that seems like a huge lift for him to dress her every day.
That would be like me going into the Criterion closet and them expecting me not to bring their movies back. I mean, they're mine now. They left the premises. They're mine.
But to wrap up the story, Andy becomes very good at her job being Miranda's assistant, better than Emily. Emily gets kicked out of going to Paris Fashion Week. And it's during Paris Fashion Week, Andy discovers some things about herself and other people, because there's a revelation made to Andy from Simon Baker.
Ugh.
What does he do? I'm not quite sure how he's a journalist. Okay.
Yes, he does real journalism, remember?
He develops a romance with Andy, and you might be thinking, wait, I thought she had a boyfriend. She did, but they broke up because he feels like she's changed. So
we need to get her boyfriend and their friend group. I don't like them. I don't like Miranda either, but I don't like them especially.
Andy and Simon Baker have a one-night stand, and when she gets up in the morning, she sees a mock-up for a runway cover. So, of course, she's like, why do you have this? Oh, well, because Miranda's being booted out and replaced by a younger woman.
Jacqueline Follet.
And we need to talk about this, but for some reason, Andy feels like she needs to warn this lady. But ultimately, she realizes that Miranda already knew, and she had planned for this. She kind of stabs Stanley Tucci in the back, who thought he was getting a huge promotion. She sacrifices him to give that other lady the job so that Miranda can keep her own job.
Correct.
Andy witnesses this go down and realizes this is not the type of environment she wants to work in.
Yeah, she discovers the compromise of not being able to do the right thing is something that she had control of the entire time.
So in the end, she quits. She actually just leaves Paris. And then we see her ultimately get a job at a different publication that looks a little more
if I were her
speed.
If I were her though, girl, I'd be like, I made sure I can get out of Paris first, because what if they yank my ticket? Can we talk about the director?
Okay.
I don't care for David Frankel. I don't think he's a very good director. I think he lucked out getting to do this and getting Meryl and getting Anne and getting Emily, who all I think in their ways are elevating this script, because I find it's just a very basic movie. And I think Mr. Frankel's ensuing filmography has proved that, because, you know, after that he did Marley and Me. Again, I know a lot of people like that film. I can't stand corny shit. I don't like that film. Collateral Beauty is terrible. The Big Year with Jack Black, that bird watching movie. I mean, I guess you could make an argument for Hope Springs, which reunited him with Meryl. But again, it's because it's Meryl Streep and Tommy Lee Jones as a troubled older couple. But I just, it's funny because I haven't watched this since then. And that, what's her name? Casey Tungstall, that film that opens in the opening credits. It's just, I was awash with memories of this music from that era. And it feels like that. I think they didn't realize they had lightning in a bottle.
Perhaps. Just going through my notes, I was so frustrated in the beginning because I don't understand why Miranda would hire someone who she knows nothing about fashion.
But she tells us why.
And be surprised they know nothing about fashion.
Right.
Yeah, she eventually says, because I thought I would give you a chance because all these other bimbos I hire are the same. So maybe you being like a smart girl who doesn't care about fashion would work.
I'm curious.
So I assume that's why she hired her initially, but it's just so, it's like,
it's not, it's, you're setting someone up for failure.
Well, yeah,
almost.
because she's not communicating, but Miranda's style is not to want to have to communicate anything. She wants someone to be a mind reader.
Well, even Emily, who says to Andy, don't mess up because that could compromise my job, then you better train her.
Well, that's the thing. If I were a high level person who required more than one assistant, I would want them to also read my mind, but I would also treat them as if they were that important. You know, like I would make sure they're properly trained. I would pay them well. I'd make sure they're happy working for me because I'm really relying on you.
Instead of forcing them to kind of cruelly compete with one another.
So it's interesting how people love this film so much because I find it a little difficult to sit with. That being said, could I rewatch this? Absolutely. I could see myself on a cruise ship at like 4:00 waiting for me to go get another meal and having like 2 hours in my cabin and just letting this play. Like it's pleasant enough.
It's fun in a ludicrous, over the top way. But I also it was getting my blood pressure up with the way Miranda Priestley treats people. Cause I mean, and this was before I actually worked for some people that treat their subordinates this way. And I'd set her house on fire. I would be in jail. I can't do that. I can't do it. And that is why it got under my skin.
Well, this is one thing I wanted to talk about, which is people working jobs that aren't right for them.
That is,
and then subjecting everyone to that.
Like
that disdain and that miserableism. And I understand it's like we all have to work and not all of us can have our dream jobs. But sometimes it's just like, this job is not for you. How many people do I encounter and I think this is not the job for you? Or how many people do I hear talk about their jobs? It's just like, you should not be working there.
But then
you should not be working.
Who should be working in this demeaning hierarchy at the bottom rung? You know, like that's the thing too. Like it's demeaning.
Well, but that's not what I'm talking about, because I think, having this environment where people are treated that way is not what we should be doing, but that's the reality in some situations. And I think those situations are more fringe. I'm talking about you work in customer service, but you hate interacting with people. Like, okay, if you know that about yourself.
Right. Don't get stuck. You need to get out. It's if it's paying your rent or anything, your bills for the moment, fine, but you can't get stuck there.
I'm a little confused why Andy took this job. You met the lady. She was rude as hell. You had to check her a little bit. You storm out and then you're told, oh, come back. You're hired.
But see, Miranda is a master manipulator. And I think Adrian Grenier's character is too. I think Andy is manipulated by both of these people that want to control her for something. And I think that a certain type of personality, maybe I have it, sometimes responds in that way. That's like, I'm going to prove you wrong, that I can do this shit and do it well.
I didn't get that sense from...
You don't? I think she is doing that. When
Miranda?
Yeah. When Andy can't get her that flight on the hurricane so she can attend those raggedy little girls concert or whatever, and Miranda calls her in and says, you've disappointed me worse than all the other stupid girls, and you see it get under her skin, it's too late.
I think Miranda's collateral is she knows that she's a powerful person and anyone adjacent to her can get some of that shine. And the way she's treating Andy, I thought was more of a form of punishment. I need to train you, and this is how I do it, which is abusive. I'm more confused with why Andy wants to please Miranda.
Again, I think that is what happens when you're gaslit.
I think what Adrian Grenier is doing to her feels more like true manipulation.
But I think they're both doing it. I really think those behaviors are there.
Sure.
Because look at what, God, I said it was so creepy too. This whole thing about getting to bring the book to the house and who gets to be inside the house, who has keys to my personal space, and how are they behaving?
But that's a dogma that Emily has passed on to Andy. Like Miranda hasn't said any of that.
No, but that's you get all.
Haven't you worked in situations where like the talk around the office is the person in charge, like this is how they are and this is what they like, and it's like, well, that person has never actually said that. It's just everyone's in a flutter about what they think this person wants and needs.
Yes, you get all your master gets all their subordinates worked up and to a fever pitch, and then there's this hysteria. So it's toxic and abusive and gross.
The point I'm trying to make is a more sophisticated script, I think, could have examined the contrast between Miranda. What if Miranda's just an inconsiderate, mean lady who only cares about her work?
Wow.
But everyone who works for her has crafted this persona of her, when in reality, if someone were to actually check her, she might fall in line. I think that could have been an interesting way to approach the story.
That could be interesting, but there are no secrets to Miranda Priestley. What you see is what you get, which also makes this a little superficial. I know we get that moment where she's not wearing makeup and she's upset about her next divorce. But to me, somebody more manipulative, to me, somebody that's, I made the comment while we were watching it that this is kind of like the anti-working girl, where Sigourney Weaver's Catherine Parker, I think, is more dangerous, because she has fooled her subordinates into thinking she has their best interests in mind when she absolutely does not. Everybody knows that Miranda doesn't give a shit.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is, if she doesn't, it's just interesting because I think it's easy to see someone like her at this high level and pass these judgments. But if you work a regular job and your boss is just there to collect their check, do what they've been told to do, you think they care about any of their employees either? I mean, does anyone really care about their coworkers and employees?
Well, that's part of the problem, isn't it?
No, I agree that shouldn't be how it is. But what I'm saying is that it's because at one point, Andy says to, I believe it's Simon Baker's character, that if Miranda were a man, no one would think that she's this monster.
I would still. But yeah, that there's some truth in that.
But that's in the same chapter as what I think I'm saying, is because she is this person who's very visible in this industry and she's seen as like the pinnacle, her behavior is interpreted very differently. But look at Emily Blunt's character.
I mean, she's psychotic as well.
Right. Like all she cares about is advancing her own interests. She doesn't care about the person who works under her.
No, and you're dying for Andy to say something about how Emily Blunt is styled in this, because it's like, I think you look terrible.
I think my favorite scene, which is probably because it feels the most thoughtful, is the cerulean scene.
Yes, that is a good scene.
And it's where Andy is assisting Miranda, who's trying to pull some outfit together for something. And Andy giggles at a stylist holding two belts that are both blue and they look very similar.
Well, they're more shades of teal.
And Miranda asks, is there something funny? No, I can't tell these two belts apart. And at this point, Andy is still wearing her frumpy clothes. And Miranda basically explains that what they're doing, the styles they're curating and the trends they're manufacturing trickle down into the basic cheap shit people like you buy. So for you to stand there and act like you're above this idea of fashion is naive, basically. And I did think that was very well done.
That is, and I agree with part of that. Sure, her reaction is naive, but also to me, that's like Charlie Kirk going to these campuses. It's like, but what about the elitism that is also a problem in this industry and what is affordable to most people? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about how this industry depends on people not being able to wear the bullshit you're making?
I don't know enough about fashion to speak on its sustainability and affordability. I mean, obviously, designer shit influences like ready to wear things that you find at big retail stores. So, you know, people obviously afford clothes and people can look really nice spending very little money. And that inspires them. I know my mom in her bathroom, she has clippings from fashion magazines with like outfits she likes. And then I'm assuming when she goes to pull something together, that's her inspo. So even though I'm not a fashion person, I don't think fashion's inherently bad. And someone needs to come up with something, I guess.
No, it's not bad. And I think that's what's interesting about this Andy character and her glow up and she's being accused of selling out for liking belts and bags and stuff. It's okay to, transformative when you find out what clothing works for your body, what style works for you, as long as it's you deciding that and not chasing labels.
To me, I don't think, when I think about this movie, having just watched it, the message to me is not even about fashion. It's about learning to transform yourself, learning to evolve, learning to find your voice, learning to say no. I think it's more than just wanting to look good. Because in the end, Andy goes back to dressing how she used to, but she's learned how to pull it together to look her best. And I think that's probably the message, is that however you want to present yourself, you should feel good.
And creating boundaries.
But I want to keep going with my notes. You keep talking about Jarlsberg cheese.
Yeah, that's how I didn't know what that was before watching this movie at that age. And I have to say, I do like it.
Okay, Emily Blunt's character is so rude to Anne Hathaway. And Stanley Tucci calls her fat. Emily calls her fat. Miranda calls her fat. Let me tell you something. The bitch bigger than me could not call me fat. These fat jokes are too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted Annie to say something.
I know, because then she's like a size 6, and then suddenly she's like, oh, I'm gotten down to size 4.
She looks amazing in these clothes. She looks thinner to me than everyone else who's making fun of her.
She has this nice, bright face with these big doe eyes. It's like Anne Hathaway is a pretty woman.
The only person who compliments Andy is the one who's prettier than her, which is Gisele Bündchen. She tells her, you look nice, and Emily gets upset.
Right.
I'd be so mad.
I was assuming you'd like Emily Blunt's character more because...
I don't like Emily Blunt, period.
Oh, really? Well,
There's something about that lady that she didn't do anything to me, but if she's in a movie, if she's in a movie, that will not be a reason for me to go see it.
Okay, I like Emily Blunt. I assumed you would like her because she's giving a withering bit of an over-the-top nature that's almost like ab fab with her accent.
Oh, she could never.
Okay, well,
Emily couldn't. She wouldn't be able to hang with my ab fab girls.
I'm talking about a pale echo at the very least.
Well, I don't need a poor fabrication when I have all the seasons on BBD. But no, I mean, that's interesting. You thought I would like her. I actually couldn't stand that character. Well, I felt bad for her.
I feel bad for her too, because she's a cog in the system and she's too dumb to know it.
Well, that's what makes me sad, is she's not bright like Andy.
Right.
I don't get the sense that she actually wants a legitimate career in journalism in any capacity. She just wants pretty clothes. And the only way she knows how to get them is to be this poorly treated subordinate to this woman.
Yeah.
And then there's no characterization for her. So it's like, all Emily wants is clothes, but we don't know what these clothes mean to her. Do you live in some shitty walk up with 3 other raggedy bitches downtown? Like, I mean, what is the point of you having designer clothes with nowhere to go in them?
Right.
And that's kind of what I wanted to know.
Right. And well, also, so you really have displayed you're only good at answering phones and organizing all that bullshit. So where are you at your glass ceiling already?
Another thought I had watching this film is, it's so important, I think, to make the most of what's in front of you. And in thinking about my own life and how far I've gotten in many ways, it's because I generally will take the path of least resistance and put in max effort, which to me will give you like the highest output. I'm not trying to fight against anything. If something doesn't want me there, like, I'm going to work with what's in front of me. And what I saw in Andy was that spirit, I think. So when I said initially, I don't understand why she would take this job. I still don't. I think what pushed her is her wanting to make the most of what's in front of her. Because
Yes.
we get a sense that her life is based on her visit with her dad giving her money, and he intimates the mom, because they're divorced, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not. Maybe the mom just didn't go on the trip. But it's alluded to that Andy shared with her mother she was having problems paying the rent. Then we see her with her boyfriend. It seems like that's a complicated relationship. So there's a lot going on. And as you know, when you have a million things in the air, sometimes you just have to bite down and get through it, you know?
Exactly.
And that's the spirit I got from Andy.
Well, yeah, especially early 20s. She's motivated to succeed. I mean, there's a lot of material she's picking up along the way, as the person who wrote this book did, to write something. Yeah.
One of the scenes that made me most frustrated, well, I think the most uncomfortable scene you already mentioned, but one that made me most frustrated is now that Andy has the glow up and she's in full swing with her job, she meets her friends, who consist of Tracy Toms.
I do love Tracy Toms, not necessarily in this movie.
Osgood Perkins.
Oh, Osgood.
And her boyfriend, Adrian Grenier. So the three of them are at a bar, it seems, when Andy shows up late as always, because she's always working. She apologizes but says, I have gifts. She gives her boyfriend a Bang & Olufsen phone that I know is very expensive.
They price it in the movie, $1,100.
And she gives a bunch of like nice skincare, cologne. And then she hands Tracy Toms a bag, a purse. And Tracy Toms loses it. Like, oh my God, this is the new Marc Jacobs. It's sold out everywhere.
I mean,
and all I could think about was in Sex and the City with
movie.
Jennifer Hudson, when Sarah Jessica Parker gives her that Louis Vuitton bag, and the way Jennifer Hudson reacts to that ugly ass purse. Sometimes I watch that clip just to laugh.
And that's the movie, the 2008 film, not the sequel, right?
No, because the sequel, they're in Abu Dhabi, right?
Or is wherever. Notably, though, Patricia Field, who was Oscar nominated, as was Meryl, for Best Achievement in Costume Design, she, of course, was the costume designer on Sex and the City.
Now I'm concerned that I didn't. Is it Abu Dhabi?
I don't remember. I saw that once.
I don't need people lighting me up. Hold on. Where did they go in Sex and the City?
I think it's Dubai.
I think it's Dubai.
For some reason, I have Garfield in my head. That's Abu Dhabi.
Oh, okay. Well,
sorry.
Don't. Oh, they are in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, see? I'm always doubting myself.
Okay.
This is a personal flaw. Fatal flaw. My Achilles heel.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Well, I took the effort to make sure.
Yes, you fact checked. It's fine.
Thank you.
Great. That's all.
But anyway, in that scene where she gives the gifts and everyone seems very happy, Osgood is saying, like, I love that you have this job. Her phone starts ringing, as it always does, with Miranda calling her wanting something. And her friends grab her phone and play hot potato.
Oh, I was hot.
I
was hot.
Lost it.
And then laughed at her. Oh, no. Last time I'm seeing you.
I'm the only adult here. I have a real job with real expectations.
But it's also like, if you were my friend, don't you want me to succeed? Yes, this is uncomfortable for right now. She doesn't even do a whole year there. Not a whole revolution.
I haven't even passed 4 seasons trying to get ahead of my job, and you all are making it hard for me. You're mocking me. You
assholes, you're in New York. Aren't you all hustling?
You play with my phone knowing that's my livelihood.
Mm-mm.
After I gave you a bunch of gifts?
No.
Babe, I would have snatched
I would take those gifts back. Give me that phone.
I would have grabbed the purse.
Sell it on eBay.
I would have grabbed the purse first, opened it up, put all the other shit I gave them in the purse, and then walk out.
I would have said it's actually not Marc Jacobs. It's Jessica Simpson.
The Jessica Simpson bag.
I only know that because my sister had one that looked kind of like it.
Getting back to Emily Blunt, talking to me like she's crazy, standing in that awful overhead lighting with those hot roots. I hated her hair color. I hated her hair color.
The eye makeup was a choice, though, huh?
Ugh.
Looking like she's some kind of a pupa about to become a butterfly.
So we're told early on that if Miranda gives the assistant a key to her house to drop off things, that means that at least she knows you're not psycho, and that's a good sign. So the first time Andy gets to deliver something, she gets a little confused about where to put stuff, and it's in this beautiful, like, multi-level townhome. Miranda has twins, which She seems a little elderly for these little
If
girls.
those
The Shining twins.
I wanted those girls to tumble down those stairs so bad.
But these are some ragged little girls, and they're telling Andy, like, oh, just put it in there, put it in there. Oh, in the book, you can bring it up to us. You can bring it up to us. But Emily had told Andy, whatever you do, listen, just walk through that door, put the shit down. Do not walk through that lady's house. Do not talk to anyone.
Like in Spirited Away or Pan's Labyrinth, we're like, don't eat any of the food.
And stupid Andy walks up the stairs, and she walks in on
an argument
between Miranda and her husband, that's the most uncomfortable scene in the movie. I was like, I was on the couch, I have like scratch marks on my legs.
Meryl does like a Charles Manson stare in that scene.
Meryl is very good.
She is
in everything.
Yes, she is.
And she really did something with this role.
I agree. And I'm curious to see how she takes it even further. However, those girls, this is what I mean by bad direction, though, because Andy can see that those girls are snickering and not being forthcoming, really.
Well,
she's not an idiot. So that's where I was like the lazy direction, just so we can collapse that the audience knows that she's about to get hemmed up.
I also didn't like that the twins seem like not nice girls, because towards the end,
well, their mothers,
when Miranda has a more vulnerable moment with Andy and then says that, you know, she's concerned about what her girls might think. None of that connected for me, because it's like, well, you're kind of awful, and clearly you're raising these girls to be, I mean, me seeing a kid do one raggedy thing doesn't mean they have awful parenting, but okay. I just wish that we would have seen a softer side of Sears.
Sure. Yeah. As you said, as we were watching it, I think the film doesn't really humanize Miranda quite. I think it's funny that it's such a time capsule of so many things, including before we knew J.K. Rowling was transphobic, but all the little references like Dean and DeLuca, Magnolia Bakery.
I still need to know where Andy is getting these clothes from. She's wearing designer shit every day.
Century 21.
I need to understand the real estate firm.
No, wait, where was that?
You mean Forever 21?
No. That was where I got my
Century 21 is real estate. It's like Remax.
The first time I went to New York, it was by Ground Zero where I bought my leather Prada pants.
It definitely wasn't Century 21. There's Forever 21.
It's not Forever 21. It was kind of like what do you call it when?
Well, comment below if you were in New York in 2000 what?
It's kind of like an outlet, like 2002. It was an outlet for, where you go buy name brand shit, but at an outlet. What's that shit called?
An outlet?
Like we used to have to go buy school clothes at Tanger outlet store in Minnesota because that's where you could get nicer stuff for cheaper.
Is
it because there's mistakes in it or some shit? I don't know.
I don't know.
But that's where I got 2 pieces. I spent all my little paycheck on that shit.
Part of Emily's decline is she shows up to work sick and brings something. Miranda's in a big meeting in a conference room, and Emily walks in there coughing all over everyone. I can't believe Miranda let her near her when she's sick.
We're sensitive to this. We're traumatized after COVID. So.
Yeah, but considering how persnickety.
Right, yes.
And Miranda even says, can someone get me some antibacterial wipes? I can't believe and then she lets her go to this event and she's sick at the event. Like, I just don't understand.
Well, even Andy, I would be like, ugh, I don't want to be ill.
Right. And then right after that, Emily gets hit by a cab. At the moment, Andy's trying to explain to her, Miranda's taking me to Paris, not you.
So it's convenient. Kind of takes her off the hook a little bit. Oh, that meeting you referenced, though, of Miranda's board going over the layout for the next issue and poo-pooing everything except Stanley Tucci. We need to talk about Stanley. One of those people in there is George C. Wolfe, who you know as a director of films such as Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Rustin.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that would have gone over my head when I first saw it.
Andy goes to visit Emily in the hospital after she's been hit by the cab, and Emily is not nice to her.
No, but at least she's eating carbs again.
I mean, would I have even shown up?
No, that's the thing.
Probably not.
It's frustrating. Well, maybe it reminds me of, doing things for people that didn't deserve my energy at a certain point in my life. So that's frustrating.
I think I would have gone just to check up on her because we are coworkers. But as soon as she got funky with me,
bye.
And as I'm walking out, I might hit her leg on accident.
But this is before camera phones. I would have been taking all kinds of. You would have seen me living in Paris, girl.
Tracy Tom's character's name is Lily, and I think she's an artist of some sort, and she's having a showing at a gallery, and everyone's there, including Andy and Simon Baker.
Ugh.
And they have a moment in a corner where they share like a flirtatious moment and a kiss on the cheek.
Yes. And
Lily sees it and literally like throws away their friendship. Like, I've known you for 18 years and this is not the woman I know.
If you know me,
canoodling with some fashion man in the corner. And
if you've known me for 18 years, girlfriend, where's the sister code? Like that's how you're going to do me? Like
that seemed crazy. Like, you're my good friend and you see me glow up and you see me like acting a little out of character. This is not how you should confront me.
And you have a showing in New York. You mean to tell me you did not work your little tush off to get that to happen? And you, whatever. I don't know.
I want to know anyone who watched the last season of Drag Race, if they agree with me that Simon Baker in The Devil Wears Prada, so younger, looks like the drag queen Nini Coco out of drag.
I don't know if I see it. Well, his eyebrows are so distracting to me, Simon Baker's. But I think Nini Coco has big doe eyes like Anne Hathaway, actually.
Yeah, definitely not the eyes.
Okay.
But the mouth, like the lower half of his face.
His mandible.
He could be his son, I think.
You have the Baker mandible.
If Simon Baker and Anne Hathaway had a kid, it would look like Nini Coco.
But it's like, I pointed out Simon Baker in this, and you're the one that told me he was dating Nicole Kidman, and you were just like, who? What?
I mean, I was just passing on information.
I was like, you told me he's dating somebody really big. Who is it? It's Nicole Kidman.
I was just trying to end some of the silence in the room at that time, perhaps.
Oh, there's not a lot of silence in this house.
Oh, so you agree you talk too much?
Dear listener, if we're not talking, we're watching shit and we have a vocal cat. No, there's not a lot of silence in the house. Man, don't do that get out shit with me.
I'm blinking twice.
Okay,
What's that symbol for domestic violence?
Wrong medium, honey.
Someone help me. Calgon, take me away.
Dear listener, I have told Joseph many times because he listens to all of these murder stories on Dateline. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. I'll give you divorce.
I don't think you can make that request.
I don't want to die. I want to live. And I don't want to be hemmed up.
You can feel how you feel about your mortality, but you can't tell me how to feel about your mortality.
Oh, okay. Now who's blinking twice over here?
We all have to die, and you don't believe in heaven. You won't know that you died.
But I know that
you could die today or 50 years from now. You're not going to know the difference.
I know that I like my life right now at this age and the skin I'm in. So yes, I want to continue this feeling. I don't know what's happening after, and I don't need to get there anytime soon.
That's right. You don't know what's happening.
God, you're so difficult. Well, we both are. Scorpio. Double Scorpio.
Okay. Miranda, after she crushes Stanley Tucci's dreams.
Yes, she does.
She explains to Andy how she convinced the publisher to let her keep her job. And it's basically that she has this list of designers, models, photographers, stylists who she fostered and made them who they are. Mm-hmm. And they've all promised that if she leaves Runway, they'll go with her. So, of course, has strong-armed the publisher. Mm-hmm. But the thing that gets Andy is Miranda says, you remind me a lot of myself. And Andy's like, the hell I do. I don't want this life. I don't want to be like that. I couldn't do what you did to Stanley Tucci. And Miranda goes, you already did, bitch.
To Emily. Emily in Paris.
I would have just sat there and enjoyed that limo ride.
Oh, yeah.
And they probably had champagne in that limo.
I know. That's what I said. Girl, make your decision.
I would have just had a little glass of champagne and shut the hell up.
You need to be a cold-hearted snake about it. But no, she's like, stop the track, which is also something I think an early 20-something would do. No, make sure you can get the hell out of Dodge safely.
This dummy decides to just walk away from her job.
Oh,
and she throws her cell phone in the fountain. I would have finished my gig, collected my things and my check, gotten my I'm sure she flew first class because I'm sure Miranda wants her next to her at all times. I would have taken my first class flight back to New York.
That little yellow bag. She's running with that little yellow bag.
She looks so dumb carrying that bag around.
I didn't like the last look in Paris because Anne Hathaway is so pale in this, and they put that dark lipstick on there.
I don't think her in Paris were her best looks.
No,
Some of her daily workwear looks were better than how she looked in Bears.
I agree, because I'm like, God, you look like you just got taken out of the coffin.
And then that black dress she wore that she saw Stanley Tucci pulling, and she was all like, "It's amazing." That
no, I don't know. But whatever, I don't know shit about fashion, so not that I don't want to. I'm not above it. I just don't know anything.
there's a Sigourney connection at the end of the film, because when Andy goes to interview for a new job, the man interviewing her is Sigourney's little gay buddy from Copycat.
Yeah, I clocked that homosexual. The back of his head, I knew that homosexual.
That was kind of a corny scene. Because he's like, "So, your resume, runway, a year."
She doesn't have a gap, though. He's like, "You only did a year? Sir, I did my time. It didn't work."
And she's like, "Well, I kind of screwed up that situation."
I think the world's
changed. And the
changed,
man goes, "I called Runway to get a reference." And a very snooty, curt woman answered. And next thing I know, I get a fax from the Miranda Priestley saying that of all the assistants she's ever had, you were the biggest disappointment. And if I don't hire you, I'm an idiot.
See, even the writing of that scene, they are playing with her emotions. What kind of newspaper man do you know that would...
I thought that scene was poorly written.
Yeah, why would he bring it about that way?
But I was happy to see that Miranda acknowledged Andy as a great addition to her team. And then the final scene is as Andy's walking down the road looking at the things, she sees Miranda come out of a building to her car. They make eye contact. Andy waves and Miranda just kind of coldly glares at her and then gets in her car.
But
once she's in her car, she smiles, and we were told she hasn't smiled since 2001.
Tom Ford.
2001.
At the time of this, that's only 5 years without smiling. I mean, little did we know what the world would become now.
I saw some meme. I don't know if it's real, but some 60-year-old lady who says she hasn't smiled in like 30 years, not to get wrinkles. I mean, maybe that's what Miranda's doing.
I mean, can't you just get filler now and shit? I mean,
so themes: ambition versus identity.
Oh yes.
Andy becomes successful,
but is it really her?
Right. And ultimately, I think she realizes that she has the chops. She's smart.
I got my education.
And the beautiful thing about working in situations, I know for myself that has really been helpful in building my self-confidence, is if I can excel in areas that I don't really care about, or if I can conjure up, then imagine if I were passionate about something, what I could do.
Or areas where I've been made to feel that it's impossible for me to excel in because whatever information the world is trying to, or however the world's trying to define me. Yes, I think you learn how to be resilient.
The cost of power, specifically for Miranda. She has this powerful position, but at what cost? We're told she's had more than one divorce.
Mm-hmm.
There's this constant pressure to stay on top, obviously. When she tells Andy, "Oh, I knew all about that bitch trying to take my job," that means that for all this time, on top of all the chaos and pressure that we saw Andy dealing with, you have this lady in the background trying to plot against this other woman, this younger woman who she thinks might take her job.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Miranda's been, I mean, you can't really say forced, but Miranda has chosen to betray others.
Yes.
To stay where she is. So, some people, I mean, there's an entire market of the internet where I feel like people think that someone like Miranda is doing the right thing. So if that feels good to you, then, then it is what it is. To me, I think there needs to be a balance.
There needs to be balance, but also I'd argue that Miranda Priestley's in her own cage. Because
right.
What happens when she's no longer successful?
But I mean, we all live our lives in a way we're all in our own cages. And it's just like, how comfortable are you in that cage? How responsible are you for being stuck in that cage?
To quote Tennessee Williams, a prayer for the wild at heart locked in their iron cages.
And then I don't know what I took away from this film related to fashion, because I think the idea that fashion is trivial, I don't think that. When I see people, especially, I mean, even like just watching Drag Race and the creativity of some people and how people know their silhouettes and what looks
Yes,
good.
I agree. Mhm.
And like, that's an art.
It is an art.
But
It is.
what's beautiful about it is it's someone doing it themselves without having all the money and the resources to construct some of these garments is just, I mean, it's really breathtaking and beautiful.
I think what RuPaul's Drag Race has showed us, though, too, is that it's not about the brand that equates to what is couture.
Well, especially like living in LA where you see a lot of rich or wealthy people buying these things. It's like, because I like to go to the Beverly Center, which is a ghost town. I don't know how that building stays afloat, but you know, there are a lot of high-end shops in there. And just watching the kind of people who go in there and buy shit, it's like, I mean, you're just dressing up a pig. Like, you're not a model. Like everyone in the picture, you don't look like any of these people. You're not a model. You're not tall and slim and beautiful.
Well, it's kind of like
you're like a camel.
Maybe it's a balance. Maybe there are other things that need to be paid to as much attention as the, you know, price you're paying for that piece of name brand clothing. That doesn't.
But the point of me saying that is that version of fashion, like, oh, because I can afford it, somehow this makes me look nice. That's, you know, that feels trivial to me. But
yeah,
I don't think The Devil Wears Prada feels like a good representation of, especially because we've watched several documentaries about, you know, watching the Andre Leon Talley documentary and seeing how fashion helped this little queer kid from the South at a time when he was oppressed from many directions. It gave him liberté.
Yes.
That's beautiful. That's what I think fashion should be.
Well, and then you catch glimpses of it in this film. That's the Stanley Tucci bit.
Okay, you want to talk about Stanley Tucci.
I
didn't really like his character.
I think maybe it's that Stanley Tucci is so good at playing gay. And yes, he is a difficult person as well, but you see the humanity beneath Nigel.
Yeah, but I'm very accustomed to people being bitchy to me. And then it's like, oh, after you peel a few layers back, now all of a sudden you like me and you want to be around me. And it's like, well, unfortunately, me having to endure your abrasion has left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
It's left me with cuts.
So no surprise to me that you want to be around me.
Keloids.
But I'm not, like, that's how I felt about him, that version of.
Hold up. But you're talking about this, like there's a lot of people. Is there a common denominator here?
No, I think when you're, I think a lot of gay men are like that.
Yes, I agree.
And that's why I don't like this character, because to me, he feels like a lot of bitchy gay men who put up this wall and you know, even a couple days ago, we had dinner and there was a new gay there and
there were walls, there were sugar walls.
Well, it just always feels like it's like two cats, except I'm the cat that's like, couldn't be bothered. And then you have the other cat who's being a little funky. And then I have to just sit there and take it, because if I get upset, then we're shutting everything down.
Well, there's no reason to do that over pizza.
No, there isn't, and I don't want to be mean and nasty. That's not my personality. But it just feels like,
I don't know. It's in your spirit a little bit.
His character struck a nerve with me, because I feel like I've met so many people who are like that, and it's like, why does it take so long for you to treat me like a human being? Because ultimately, you end up liking me. You want to be in my company. So it's like, I was always me. You always liked me, but it's almost like you had to beat me down and show me like your worst side so that I can.
I felt like we were both doing the same thing. Because I also felt like I was going out of my way to be inordinately pleasant.
To be clear, because if this person's listening, they weren't awful. It was just that it's always that thing of like, I'm going to be a little bitchy to you, and I have to say something to kind. It's almost like when the older cat like slaps the younger cat.
We were on guard, yeah.
And I just don't like that, because
I don't like that either. But
it's like, what took him so long to be kind to Andy? He sees she's struggling. He's worked with this bitch Miranda for a long time. And also that heifer double crossed you in the future. So, you know, if you haven't learned yet, you should know.
Why? They're in New York. Andy had to prove that she had the capability to stick around as well and was worth his energy too.
I agree with that, but I also think like
I hear what you're saying and I agree, but I think
you're right. She probably hadn't proven herself to him yet. Like, is she even worth the time?
Not everybody is worth all of our time. I will say though, and maybe this is just a personality tick of mine, it feels good when somebody that seems super difficult is like, oh, that like warms me because I'm being nice and open.
But he wasn't just I mean, he was telling her she looks bad, she's ugly, she's fat. You know, I mean, he wasn't just kind of dismissive of her, like, until I can see that she's actually going to stick around, I'm not going to help her. That's not the situation. He was mean to her.
You know what's effed up? We can treat this as comedy because Anne Hathaway is none of those things, really. So if this was actually a homely girl that was cast in this role, those things would have hurt. But because it's Anne Hathaway, it's just like, well, she isn't ugly or fat, so I guess it's funny.
A couple of things. Apparently, Meryl Streep changed the character. Originally, Miranda Priestley was more like verbally violent and loud, and Meryl Streep
she does the opposite.
She does the opposite.
Yeah.
She's calm and controlled, which
because
I think makes Miranda a little more intimidating.
She's like the stepmother in Cinderella.
So so it was a good choice to not have her be this crazy screaming lady.
No, you own the room. You don't need to do anything. Yeah.
And then the wardrobe budget was big. It was over $1 million. Probably related to what you said, is they probably didn't have people wanting to give clothes. So they couldn't pull a lot of stuff, so they had to just actually go buy it.
I think Patricia Field was called in a lot of favors, is my understanding. Yeah.
Apparently the book is a little darker and portrays Miranda as much more openly cruel.
Probably because Anna, I mean, I've seen the September issue. I've seen many little interviews with Anna Wintour. She called my people in Minnesota little houses. I believe it.
Ultimately, I can see why people like this movie. Most of us can relate to having toxic bosses. Mm-hmm. I think like hustle culture.
I saw, it wasn't a meme. It was like an office wall with a message on it today on Instagram that said something along the lines of, your supervisor has more control of your mental health than your therapists or your doctors.
Yeah, for some people, if you let them.
It's more, you have control over how you process things, sure, but there are people that can make your life hell. There are.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a little hyperbolic. Like,
it depends on the job. I guess it depends on how much access they have to you, but the context is everything.
I don't know. If I work at T-Mobile and my supervisor is
if
making my life living hell, it's like, I don't know.
If you have a professional job that it would be difficult for you to move from because it is helping you pay your bills in an expensive city, and maybe you're even trying to get something else, that can add undue pressure. Yeah.
Well, but what I'm saying is undue pressure is not making my life a living hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people send it to the stratosphere, and it's like, you don't have to give people that power.
You don't have to give them that power, but I have personally been in situations where there have been moves to get me fired. There have been, like, there was evidence.
Well, I'm not going to talk about.
That's why I'm
not going to talk about all that, but I don't necessarily. I think that people also contribute to some situations, and I think people have more options that they are willing to execute. But absolutely, there are situations where people can be put under undue pressure. And yeah, for some people, in some situations, they do make their lives a living hell.
Yes.
So no, I'm not saying all that. I just think that this movie is something that a lot of people can relate to.
Yes.
I see why people like it. Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway are really good.
Yeah.
What would you give The Devil Wears Prada?
I'm going to give it 3. Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think it's good. I would give it 3 out of 5. What do we have coming this week? I don't know.
Lots of good things. Well, Devil Wears Prada 2.
Oh, right.
And we see Obsession, which thankfully we get to see because I'll be in Cannes when that comes out. And I'm excited for that. And
we're going to a screening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a double feature on Monday, Obsession and Devil Wears Prada 2.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And the shark movie with Sir Ben Kingsley, Deep Water.
Because of you being in Cannes, you're also taking a trip. I'm going on a cruise. Coverage will be a little light.
Yes.
And we are recording podcasts to put in the can over the course of a few weeks.
Which we've never done before.
No. So the upcoming podcasts will be a little different. They'll mainly just be the movie review.
Yes, the secret film that each of us selects.
But I'm sure you will all be grateful.
Yes, and I'm sad that I have to, will be late doing this Mandalorian and Grogu with my girl Sigourney because that opens the weekend I get back. So we'll be late with that review. Also, I Love Boosters, which I'm very excited to see.
Anything else?
No.
Ta-ta.